The last week has been wild in terms of wrestling news. We've had news on Vince McMahon, Matt Riddle, Mandy Rose, Sasha Banks, and a hell of a lot more. Let's try and break some of this down, make a bit of sense of some stuff with spoiler warning with myself, Tom Colohue, as well as our own news reports, of course, which will include discussing the situation ongoing between Nick Khan and Triple H as regards new debuts, returns, value for money, and certain contract offers that have not managed to succeed where they were hoping for. Welcome everyone to Spoiler Warning with myself, Tom Colohue. Here is a place where we discuss wrestling news, the biggest wrestling news. We break exclusive news here and we report on everything that happens to try and keep you as well informed and up to date as you possibly can be. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe. If you're watching on Twitch, of course, Michael Latina is right there. Thank you, Michael, for subscribing for your 22nd month, the longest reigning of anyone at this point in time to have held a subscription. Thank you kindly. If you are watching on Twitch, please do remember to follow as well. And more than anything, be sure to chat. Even if you're just saying hi, makes a massive difference. Jermaine is first one in saying, "Hi Tom, what a crazy week we're having here in the United States as far as wrestling news and weather. Also bad weather over here. Everything's frozen. It's kind of beautiful, but also kind of deadly." Says, "I do believe Meltzer and SRS kind of have the Sasha news all over the place. SRS trying to categorize and leaving stuff out. All the stuff that's coming out now is so confusing to what's going on. I will be putting it into a bit more context as our first piece of news as soon as I've caught up." Jermaine says, "The funny thing is, nothing that's coming out is really new news because all this stuff was said over the summer and on spoiler warning months ago if people really paid attention." Certainly, that is one of the things that I will be discussing as we get closer to time on that one because, to be blunt, and I'll be putting this into a lot more context, but the situation when it comes to Sasha Banks has not changed in any way, shape or form as regards the Fightful Select report. Now, put a bit of context in just straight from the off that I'll be clarifying a lot. The majority of the Fightful and Wrestling Observer reports are consistent to what I've already reported. The only real disagreement is that they make certain story changes as regards contract status. Fightful, having already said there's been no change, now say that Sasha Banks' negotiated release was in the summer. So what they're saying is that she negotiated a release in the summer. They're not saying she was released in the summer. In fact, she's still on the WWE website. The report actually does not say she's been released at any point, just that she negotiated a release in the summer. So more on that as it comes through. But as you guys know, and as is typical in wrestling media, so many people have already decided to come after me. And I hope they turn up on the show tonight because it'll be very entertaining. I'll be right there in the face and I will tell them, you know what, like and subscribe, guys. As regards the returns and the debuts, Justin Check is giving some ratings. His personal ratings are excellent. Dexter Loomis, Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. At Champion we have DIY potentially. Okay are the OC with Mia Yim. To be decided, Emma and Tegan Knox. Failure are Braun Strowman. And the not applicable damage control. You have forgot Hit Row there, mate. Hit Row. Simon is confused about the Sasha news. We will be clarifying that as soon as we are able to. Jonathan says, "I already know the questions you'll be receiving on the chat tonight. Tom, good luck, sir, and thanks for what you do." Thank you kindly, Jonathan. Appreciate that. And I do appreciate everyone being so supportive when people do come after you as best they can. Spider Boss here saying, "Hello, Tom. Freaking Colohue. Time for accurate wrestling news. The Sasha news certainly escalated quick." Did it? Did it? I saw a report that people have certainly taken things from. But as I say, the report clearly states she negotiated a release in the summer. Don't say when she was released, if at all. She's, after all, still on the WWE website, whereas Mandy Rose is not. But does say a rough week for me. Got attacked by Sasha's crew for putting over spoiler warning with the Sasha news after the article made by Sean Ross Sapp. Yep, sounds about right. People basically reinterpret news and then use it as a way to go after people. The amount of people who actively follow me seemingly they will only engage if they think they can get one over on me, but they're really embarrassing themselves by doing so. Like, it's bad. Bless. One person was putting up thumbnails of mine and saying, "Oh look, in your last video you said that you had something on Sasha Banks' January plans." I did. The New Japan mentioned that PWInsider reported. It's a very accurate thumbnail. Clearly you don't watch the videos. Hector says, "Happy Friday, Tom. Today's not only Brody Lee's birthday, may he rest in peace, but WWE released Bray's theme on streaming platforms. I think tonight might be the night we finally meet Uncle Harper. That has been mentioned in here before, and I do really think that may be the case. It's a very exciting prospect. Spider-Boss says, according to PWInsider, Triple H is disappointed with some of the people that returned to WWE this last summer. That was first reported by WrestleVotes, and I'll be going into that shortly. As regards certain individuals, Karrion Kross, for example, first reported on Spoiler Warning. No worries, Spider-Bot. You don't need to be sorry. People go on the attack for wrestling journalists. They just do. Everyone in wrestling journalism has to suffer it, unfortunately. We do what we can. Michael says, hi, Tom. Hey, Michael. Spider-Bot says, Dave Meltzer said Sasha asked to get more money than Becky and Charlotte. More on that shortly. And Michael says, reigning, defending, which is indeed accurate. FDR says, to quote Papa H, are you ready? Just as we got started, Code says, a hell of a couple of days in wrestling news. And Jaden says, hey, Tom. Hey, everyone. Sai says, Simon wins the prize for longest hashtag of the year. Also, you don't need them in YouTube comments. Yeah, Simon, you really don't need to put in hashtag WWE Women's World Team Tag what? That, yes. No, I don't think Tegan Nox and Liv Morgan will be winning the tag team championships tonight. Also, welcome, Sai. Matthew Johnson says, going to be a lot of Sasha questions tonight. I'll believe it when you say it. I've already said it. This actually genuinely doesn't change anything. In fact, it's consistent with most of what I've already reported. That a new contract is being discussed and negotiated. That come January, there's a cut-off point where if she's not signed, don't expect to see her in the WWE. I have my personal opinions, and my personal opinion was we would see her back in the WWE. But at no point have I sat here and said, Sasha Banks has signed a new deal. I always make those jokes where, someone's going to clip that and take it out of context. They're too lazy to watch the show, but still assume they know all of the content. People be dumb. Aled says, hey, Aled. Jaden says, sorry guys, just catching up. Why is everyone saying Sasha is done with WWE? Can you tell me what you know? I've already told you what I know, Jaden. I've already told everyone. All of the information that I've given is still very much accurate to my knowledge and has been consistently reported by a lot of different sources. Wrestling Observer today, last couple of days, has been reporting what I've already reported about Sasha Banks. Like, you're asking me for more information. People here who watch Spoiler Warning already have more information than the reports coming out now. You're already ahead of the game, guys. Ed says, hey everyone. Hey Ed, how you doing, mate? Double J says, how you doing, Tom? Wrestling can be crazy sometimes. It can. It is a crazy, 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 crazy world that we live in, where lots of dumb stuff is constantly happening, but you do what you can and try your best to survive it. FDR says, good day to you, Tom. Good day to you too, FDR. And hope you're good as well, Double J. Welcome to the show. Callie says, evening, Tom. Seems like it's going to be a busy live tonight. I hope so. I do hope so. One thing I will say, after the success of the emergency spoiler warning on Wednesday, thank you, by the way, everyone who attended that. We had a great turnout. We are now only 5 subscribers away from 1,900. Just 5 subscribers away from 1,900. So if you know anyone who'd be interested, let them know. Be sure to chat, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe if you haven't. Noob says, hello, Tom. How are you doing? Doing very well, thank you, Noob. Welcome to the show. Stuart says, evening, Tom. Evening, Stuart. Razar says, hi, had a really rough day yesterday. Spent the night in hospital. Finally feeling better, and your streams brighten up my day. Thank you. I appreciate that, Razar, and I really hope you're doing good, mate. Hopefully it's nothing particularly serious. Spider-Boss says, all of us who watched Spoiler Warning knew all about Sasha News months ago before Fightful and Wrestling Observer reported. Yeah. There's not much else to really say on that one, to be completely honest. As I say, I knew I'd get a lot of questions. Like, a lot of questions. Got you, Ed, thank you. I knew I'd get a lot of questions about Sasha Banks, and I also knew I'd just sort of have to stand here and say, I've reported what I've reported. There is no point at which anything I've reported has been even disputed so far. In fact, most of it has already been confirmed, and the stuff that hasn't been confirmed probably will be in the next few weeks. You guys know this. You guys have seen the pattern. Christoph says, hi, Tom. Hello, Christoph. Steven says, if Sasha Banks was in WWE, doesn't mean she would beat Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown title. I don't understand the question there, Stephen. Would you mind rephrasing? Venom really hopes Sasha is going back to WWE. Daz says, big up, Tom. Do you know if any title matches are announced for tonight? A women's tag team title match will be taking place tonight. Well worth checking out, I think, Daz. Welcome, Daz. Welcome, Venom. Welcome, everybody. I hope everyone's having a great day. Alice says, I don't know if you've seen the Zero News and SRS argument on Twitter. It's funny. No, Twitter's a dumpster fire. We've always known this. It's not a recent thing. It's always been a dumpster fire. I've always had people who sort of jump on me and say, oh, you were wrong about this because someone's reported something that they think is different. I remember an Aleister Black report a while back saying that essentially there was a lot of reinvention of his character because Vince wasn't really particularly confident about what his character was supposed to be. Having been called up from NXT, Vince was making tweaks to try and connect with the audience a little bit more. Shortly afterwards, this was disputed by TalkSport's Alex McCarthy, who essentially said Vince had not given up on it, he's just making some tweaks to try and connect with the audience. Literally, in the article, he's saying Tom Colohue was wrong. If you read the article and mine, it's basically identical. It's a mess, this wrestling journalism stuff. It's a mess. Why would anybody do this? Spider-Ball says Hit Row and Cross have been a flop since their return. Debatable point. I would agree on Cross, certainly. More on that as we get to it. B-School Nick says we won't have people bullying Tom, right, guys? I have to say, there has been a huge amount of support. A huge amount of support from so many people whenever something like this happens. I know Jermaine's been posting so many and just really getting to the quick of it. So many people have hit the like, have been responding, have really made it their mission to support me. And I could not be doing this without you guys. So a huge thanks to all of you for that. Nick says Hit Row's always been a joke. I won't go that far. FDR says, now that you mentioned it, so weird seeing some people call you a liar about the Sasha thing, considering you did clarify what is news and what is your opinion on the matter. Yes, but here's the thing. They haven't watched the show. At some point, someone has told them, never trust this guy. And they've sensed an opportunity to try and follow up on this. But they follow me on Twitter, and they're waiting for me to get something that they think is wrong so they can dive down my throat. It really backfired on them, I feel, when, one, they're wrong, two, they're basing a report via a paywall as fact, three, the report doesn't even say that anyway, and then four, they go on personal attacks by mentioning that I have glasses and I have white skin. Clearly you're not the most stable person in the world. That's all I'll say. Joey says, hey Tom, Dave Meltzer is reporting that Kairi Sane could be a surprise appearance in the Rumble. Have you heard anything on this? Yes, I have. And in fact, I mentioned it last week, Joey. That was mentioned, I believe, on last Friday's spoiler warning, but could have been on last Monday's. It was when I was talking about the Carl Anderson deal for New Japan. Kairi Sane has been mentioned as someone who could make an appearance in the Rumble. As I've said previous, William Regal, once he is formally signed to WWE, will likely be personally going out there to try and make that happen. Venom says, I thought Sasha was going to have a deal with Sasha in the WWE, but able to do New Japan as well. Certainly the WWE are putting that deal in place. We've seen it with Carl Anderson. I certainly did see this as a potential sign that Sasha Banks could be signing a new deal with WWE. That door is open, potentially for her, should she sign. The deal's in place. When it comes to Carl Anderson, it would not surprise me if there was a bit of back and forth. If she wants it, it's there. And I reported that before the Carl Anderson deal happened. Was reported. Christoph says, do you think Sasha deserves to be on the same financial level as Becky and Charlotte? Because obviously that's what she really wants. That's what Dave Meltzer has reported. As I've said, my suspicion is that it's more about the limited date contract, the availability to do other things, and so on and so forth. I don't necessarily think it's all about the money. If it was, I don't think she'd go to New Japan. I think she'd go to AEW. Noob says, I'm shocked Mandy Rose has been released from WWE this week after losing to Roxanne Perez. Pardon me. I was hoping for Mandy to go back to the main roster because the women's division needs top stars. I was hoping for that as well. She chose something else. Alex says, our tribal chief returns tonight. He does indeed. Michael says, I hope Meltzer's report of WWE thinking Sasha peaked isn't actually true. That really pissed me off. One thing I can say, Michael, Triple H has never believed that, and I don't believe he ever will believe that. Spider-Boss says, seeing people say Sasha only cared about money truly annoyed me. Fair. Daz says, any news on the rankings for WWE singles? I don't entirely know what you mean by rankings, Daz. Can you let me know? Joey says, apparently Mandy was making over $2 million with her OnlyFans thing, more than what she was making in WWE. That explains why she didn't want to give it up. If that's the case, how have we not heard about it before? I know there's been a lot of speculation about it, but I'm yet to see a reliable source say anything to that effect. there's a lot more to it than just the sub fees and so on. I'd like to actually get some actual brass tacks financial details there, but I don't think anyone actually does. Venom says, I'm sick of people spreading lies, thinking they know everything about Sasha, saying she's going to AEW, definitely not going back to WWE. Hector says, my question on Nick Khan and or Triple H is what constitutes being a disappointment? Considering it's a scripted show, like in Carrion's case, he's just doing his job, and what he's told, if he's not being set up for success, that's not necessarily his fault. I wholeheartedly agree with you. The issue that I'm having with Karrion Kross is the booking. It is not the person, it is the booking. That is very much the situation there. I've got to throw some doubt as to the creative team giving opportunities here. They are clearly doing something with Hit Row tonight, and I'm excited for that. I think Hit Row have an opportunity tonight to really make themselves stand out, but will they? At the same time, of course, you've got Ricochet and Gunter. They have an opportunity right now, but I do believe the last match between Ricochet and Gunter was pre-taped as well, awkwardly. Spider-Boss says, I found out some of the crew said they didn't watch Spoiler Warning, but those people said last night they watched Spoiler Warning. Those people attacked me. Yeah, the people that attacked you were clearly liars. And what I will say, Spider-Boss, is clearly not worth your time. Not good people. There are a lot of bad people, and the bad people tend to be the ones who attack first and then ask questions later. They don't realise, or they seem not to realise, that they don't know what they're talking about. In fact, they're comfortable not knowing what they're talking about. They don't want to know what they're talking about. They just want to go off on someone. Alex says, what I think is we'll see Sasha at New Japan, then we'll see her at the Rumble. I wouldn't rule that out, certainly. I certainly wouldn't rule that out. Jane says, Tom, I was disgusted by that person that were talking about your Sasha reports and your eyesight and your race. They are so ignorant. They absolutely are. If it would have been someone coming to me and say, I think you're wrong about Sasha, I could have given them a good faith argument, a welcome debate, and a discussion about what I've actually reported, and suggested some videos, or even taken some clips and made them into shorts to show them. What happened instead was they were clearly out for blood, and I don't really play that way. John Gillis says, according to Zero News and Meltzer, Kairi Sane will be in the Rumble, and also Kylie Ray has signed. As regards Kairi Sane, as I mentioned there a bit earlier, John, I did report that myself, that was a topic of discussion backstage. I did report that last week. As regards Kylie Ray, the last I heard was that she had a tryout on main event. WWE were impressed, and it looked likely that she would be signed. Austin says, it's funny I see people saying Sasha's done or leaving. Apparently they don't pay attention. Venom says, I hope they start to do something with Tyler Bate. I do not. Welcome, Austin. Great to see you, mate. Alyssa says, do you agree with me having great return since Cody Rhodes came back? Perfect return under Vince. Triple H's returns haven't been a perfect return. Debatable. Cody Rhodes is obviously the biggest name to come back, so that obviously adds a lot to it. Spider-Boss says, I hope that news about Sasha that SRS and Meltzer said these last days, I hope is clickbait. Venom says, what about when you get 2,000 subs to do a Raw Watch Along to celebrate? Not against it. In and around Royal Rumble time, I can certainly see that. We could do a Raw Watch Along after the Royal Rumble, for example. Alex says, Tommy seeing Jay White versus Seth Rollins on your Christmas list has been for years. Dark Society, welcome, says, I'm sorry for people treating badly on Twitter. Some people need to clean their ears. I appreciate that, Dark Society. I always get crap on Twitter. Everyone in the world seems to get crap on Twitter. I don't get crap here because those people who are coming after me don't watch the show. So how do they even know what I've reported? It's a ridiculous concept. Welcome, Dark Society. Jane says, thank you, Tom. I know you've reported it already, but because everybody was saying that she was done with WWE, I was afraid that something might have changed. Everything I've already reported is still the case to my knowledge. A lot of what's being reported out there is actually confirming what I've already reported, just in slightly different words. For example, the report from Fightful Select, to my knowledge, I don't have Fightful Select, but I do appreciate a few people have clued me into the wording of and phrasing of it. It's very carefully scripted to avoid saying that she was released. It doesn't actually say she was released. It says she negotiated a release at a certain point. It doesn't say she was released. Potentially, she could have negotiated her release for January. It makes that quite unclear. John Gillis says, also according to Zero News, Sasha wants name rights, more money from merchants after everything, at least to 7 or 8 million a year. Name rights, we already knew about the fact that she's copywriting so many of her actual names and variants thereof. Makes a lot of sense. As regards what you said, Zero there in Zero News, it seems like that's a parroting of Dave Meltzer. Razar says, has there been any updates on the Mandy situation? Did she ask for a release or was fired without warning? She was fired, not necessarily without warning. As I've said, to my knowledge, the WWE did not tell her she was going to be fired, so there's the blind side there. However, she did know that it was going to be her last match. she knew, they hadn't told her. That's to my knowledge. As regards asking for her release, I'm yet to have that confirmed by anyone, but I will continue to ask. Spider-Boss says, whether Triple H is disappointed with some of the people that returned to WWE this last summer, it's only Triple H or it's Nick Khan? It is both. We will be getting into that. We're trying a slightly different format now, where we start with the questions and then get to the news, rather than the other way around, because I'd start with the news and then I'd not be able to catch up on the questions. You guys are very, very talkative. It's fantastic. It's why these shows are going longer and longer as well. Colton Kinnaman, welcome, says Uncle Harper should debut today because it's Luke Harper's birthday today. I do believe, Colton, you are the one who mentioned that as a possibility, and I've got to say I very much think you're onto something. Joey says, do you think we'll see Uncle Howdy or some big surprise tonight? Uncle Harper, I think we'll see Uncle Harper tonight. Just to be clear, that's not a report, that's an opinion. I have to say that now. Imagine having an opinion. Stephen says WWE was never going to push Sasha Banks to the moon as a main event star. She was a main event star for quite a while, but she has not been heavily pushed in that direction. Razar, that is a one-source report. I don't necessarily believe it personally. It's inconsistent with what I've been told. Spider-Boss says, SRS and Meltzer recently are putting the pieces of your puzzle of the Sasha's negotiations with WWE. Yes, if you remember, Fightful selected the ones who... let me actually rephrase and do the timeline better. I reported that representatives of Sasha Banks were speaking to the WWE as regards potentially getting out of her contract. That was a while back. After that, on Fightful Select, the paywall, the report came out that nobody had actually spoken to Sasha Banks and Sasha Banks had been in no contact whatsoever. A couple of weeks later, what I reported was also reported behind the paywall on Fightful Select. Also, of course, they're now reporting she negotiated for a release back in the summer. How could she have done that if no one was talking? So the idea that as soon as it comes out behind that paywall, it is factually accurate, is not factually accurate. Simon says, do you think WWE will have the women's tag team title match with Liv main event tonight on SmackDown? Possibly. I think Ricochet Gunter may have something to say about that. Certainly I think it could be a main event, but I think it will likely open the show because I think Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler will be getting involved. Stephen says, Triple H might not have plans for Karrion Kross or Hit Row. Karrion Kross was an opportunity signing. I'll say that, and that's a fact. He was an opportunist signing. So there were no plans for him from the off. Hit Row, there was a few more plans. Carlos says, any new news on Mandy Rose? Yes, there will be a little more on that shortly. Venom says, I really hope Sasha's in the Rumble. If not, it's going to be a massive letdown. Well, to be clear, the WWE are really communicating to everyone they possibly can right now. She's not going to be in the Rumble. She's not going to be in the Rumble. Guys, don't expect her on the Rumble. I wouldn't be expecting too much. I also wouldn't be expecting nothing. DC says, hello, Tom. Hoping all is well in your corner of the world. It is. Thank you, DC. There's been word that Scarlett has been wrestling on the house shows. Will she make her in-ring debut on SmackDown? Have a great week. Her in-ring debut will be coming relatively soon, but I wouldn't necessarily guarantee it to a point where it's going to be on SmackDown. She may, after all, with Karrion Kross, move in the draft. Or win the Royal Rumble. Tommy says, happy Friday night SmackDown day. Welcome, Tommy, and thank you kindly. Jaden said, Tom, is there going to be a SmackDown watch-along? Yes, there is, Jaden. I thank you once again for asking that particular question. There will be a SmackDown watch-along live tonight, the 2-hour show that has become a staple of this channel and lately one of our most successful. What I will say, as I've mentioned previously, now that we have a full show, we have 110 viewers, only 41 likes so far. Please remember to hit thumbs up. We also only need just 5 new subscribers in order to get to 1,900. At that point, if we're able to achieve that, we only need an average of 6 per day to actually still finish on 2,000. As such, any donations, any gifted subs, any money that comes in via your good selves right now will go directly onto YouTube advertising and will be spent upgrading the advertising, helping the algorithm work out what work of mine to advertise, and just doing everything possible to get those numbers up. Spider-Boss says, Mandy being fired for her OnlyFans stuff surprised me. Surprised me too. Pardon me. Noob says, I hope Kairi Sane will reunite with Asuka. Pardon me. Because Asuka is now on hiatus from wrestling after losing to Rhea Ripley this week on Raw. Let's hope we might see a serious side of Kabuki Warriors. I would like it if in the Royal Rumble we do get Kairi Sane stepping in against Io Shirai. And after they battle for a bit, then we get Asuka. Sean says, hi Tom, feel bad for you. You absolutely did not deserve the attacks from the crew. Appreciate that, Sean. I just let it go past me. It doesn't mean much to me because ultimately I don't care about their opinion. If they followed me, which many of them did, I just got rid of them because why would I waste my time with that? But I do appreciate the showing of support that everyone's doing here. Thank you very kindly for it. Tom Talks Rubbish, welcome. Says, back from an amazing holiday with my carer Rebecca. I did see the pictures there. Even though when she showed up she was full of cold, it turned out to be a chest infection. Oh God. But still managed to give me an amazing holiday. See, that is a job well done, I tell you. Welcome to the show, mate. Daz says, like the Power 25 on the games, Tom, where would you rank Seth? Power 25? Do you mean like in 2K? Do you mean 2K? I'd certainly put him up there. I don't really play those games, so I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Peter says, Jericho's legend, always trying to put over new talent. Indeed, and he's certainly picked a new person to put over now. Welcome to the show, mate. Carmelina says, I hope Sami does cut his hair today. Do you think so? Yes. To my knowledge, Sami Zayn has had himself a haircut. And he and Roman will be featuring back-to-back in the shows because they are recording SmackDown tonight for next week as well. Christoph says, Colonel said on Twitter something huge might be happening tonight on SmackDown. Do you have any idea? I have some ideas. They all revolve around Bray Wyatt. Jonathan says, Karrion Kross would benefit more on Raw than SmackDown. I think getting him as much distance from Drew McIntyre as possible would be a very good thing. Michael says, I find it hard to believe that someone like Sasha, who wants the women to main event and be given every opportunity the men do, would go to AEW where they get a 30-second promo and a 5-10 minute match a week. I agree on that one. She would basically be starting from scratch if that was the case. That said, at New Japan, they are starting from scratch in their own way, but they do have an amazing amount of talent in Stardom that they can look towards. Venom says, can you say when they will do something with Tyler Bate? No, and I hope they don't. Steven says, if Sasha Banks goes to AEW, it will be crazy if Tony Khan gets her in that women's division. Marcel, welcome, says, hello Tom, how are you? Doing very well, thank you, Marcel. Hope you are well as well. Spider-Boss says, with the short TV time and bad booking that the AEW women's division gets every week isn't something that Sasha wants. Sasha only wants good booking and to be treated properly. If she's given enough assurances, I'm sure that could be something that happens. Pierre, welcome, sir. Says, hi, Tom. Is your favourite, maybe only French viewer? I think you might be, actually. As part of the crew, I would like to say we aren't all that mean. Appreciate that, Pierre. It was isolated individuals. I'm not saying it's the whole crew, as it were. There are plenty of people in here who identify as crew, and they are perfectly respectful and very good people. So in no way am I going to sit here and go after the crew. That's not my style, and that's not how I would do it. But I do appreciate that, Pierre, and hope you're good as well. Thomas Phipps says, hi, Tom. Hope that you're well. Still can't believe what some people like on Twitter. Just disgusting. Yep, world's full of them. And I do appreciate so many of you being so supportive, hitting like on those tweets, retweeting it. Anything that you can do to share, share my responses is, of course, very, very welcome. Hector says, I don't know if it's been reported by anyone, but what are the chances that due to Nick Khan and Stephanie giving the orders to let Mandy go, is there any chance whatsoever that a sponsor like Mattel could have forced WWE's hand on this matter or no? It's possible, certainly, that those discussions took place, but they would have been directly with Nick Khan and Stephanie. Triple H would not have been involved. Michael says, I would imagine that WWE would try to negotiate with Sasha after the first. I don't think they'll ever stop. When it comes to Sasha Banks, Triple H is not ready to give up, and he's not willing to give up. That negotiation will be constant. Joey says, do you think we could see some New Japan wrestlers in the Rumble? Yes, I do. I think that is certainly a strong possibility, and I'd very much like to see it. Venom says, people are just jealous because you give all the legit news, which is something they can't do. Ignore them and keep up the amazing work, Tom. Thank you, Venom. I appreciate that very much so. Yes, Venom, I think that's a definite possibility that we could do a Raw watch-along after the Royal Rumble. A few special instances, like a few special shows, absolutely I can get behind. I just can't promise it regularly. Thank you very much, Tom, for that super chat. I very much appreciate it. It says, by the way, Sai got back to me. Thanks for putting us in touch. No worries. Sai does fantastic work. These graphics right here, absolutely amazing. Anytime I need a tweak or anything, Sai just gets me sorted. I'll have a Royal Rumble one very shortly. He's already making plans for my birthday overlay. This is a guy who knows his stuff. Any way I can support him and support you by putting you two guys together, win, win, win for everyone. Dom says, hit that like button or we have 2 words for you. Like, please. See what I did there? Do you see what I did there? Do you see what I did there? We currently have 42 likes and 111 viewers. Please do remember to hit that thumbs up. It makes a massive difference to the algorithm, lets people know that this is a stream they should be advertising. And as I say, we only need 5 more subscribers to reach 1900. Joey says Zero News is threatening to put his info behind a paywall. Who's mad that people were calling him out for his fake reporting. I'll have to check this out. It sounds funny. Razar says, may not be my business, but what's up with you and Tyler Bate? Curious, do you know things about him that aren't good? No comment. Colin said, yes, sir, I'm definitely onto something. I think you are. I think you are. Simon says, if Kairi Sane is going to be in the Rumble, Sasha is facing Kairi in New Japan. Does this also mean Sasha will be in the Rumble? No. The only thing that would mean Sasha is in the Rumble is Sasha being in the Rumble. Just be aware of that. We have to try not to read too much into things. Venom says, Trips shouldn't regret any returns he's done. It's been a great decision to bring these guys back. I doubt if Vince was still in charge if half these wrestlers would have returned. None of them would. None of them would. Nelson says, if WWE and New Japan form a partnership, do you think they're going to want an exclusive one, or would New Japan be able to keep working with AEW? They will want an exclusive one. That doesn't guarantee that they will get an exclusive one. Austin says, everyone copies Tom, uses it for their own platform. Got to give Tom credit when he's been right. They are not willing to do so, and you know that. We all know that. Welcome, Kamari Christie. Not sure what's going on there. You're very much into a system. And you enjoy it. Alyssa says some Triple H returns have been lackluster under him. I agree with that, and that is definitely the case, yes. Joey says they're having Scarlett wrestle to try and get crossover. No, they are having Scarlett wrestle to try and get Scarlett over. Spider-Boss says, can WWE and Sasha negotiate after January 1st? It depends whether or not she signed the deal with someone else. FDR says, any news on Naomi? Only what I've already reported. To my knowledge, negotiations are going fairly well. I would personally expect her to return to WWE. To be clear, that is an opinion, not a report. Because you know we got to do that now. You know we got to do that. And say, the Sasha's not in the Rumble. Do you reckon there's no chance she comes back to WWE? Long time, forever. Long time. That's fair, Christoph. That's fair. I probably should stop. Razar says, what are John Cena's plans moving forward? Is he going to be in the Rumble or wrestle at WrestleMania? Can you bear with me just 1 second, please? Just 1 second. Yeah. Pardon me. As regards John Cena, we will be seeing him very, very soon. He is expected to be at the last SmackDown of the year, which will be very, very soon. So we've got that to look forward to. I suspect he will be in the Royal Rumble. He'll have a short-term program, probably going into WrestleMania as well, but we'll see how far it goes. It will be very similar to his program with Roman Reigns, where he was there very briefly. Dark Society says, why do I have the feeling that Becky Lynch is going to win the Royal Rumble? But who should win it is Rhea Ripley. Becky Lynch is the favourite to win the Royal Rumble at this point in time. Simon says, I always share your video, Tom, to my good friends in the USA so we can get your news. Thank you very much, Simon. 2 Super says, hey, Tom. Hey, Super. Spiderboss says, it annoyed me all that narrative of Sasha is done with WWE. That's what people are reporting. Joey says, Dave Meltzer seems to be very adamant that Sasha is going to AEW, even though there's no indication on that. Well, to be fair, if there's one thing he knows, it's AEW. So AEW may be adamant. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. 2 Super says, Sasha at Wrestle Kingdom could be huge for WWE. It also could not be. Kelly says, sorry for asking, why don't you like to mention Tyler Bate? No comment. Spiderboss says, fans on social media usually speak without any knowledge and make theories about Sasha and wrestling news in general. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Joey says, the Raw after Mania would be a fun watch-along. Fair point and definitely worth considering. Sean says, according to Wrestling News Co., WWE sources tried to leak that Mandy asked for her release 2 weeks ago. That's confusing because if WWE sources did try to leak that, why didn't anyone pick it up? Someone would definitely pick it up. Someone would. So, news to me. 2 Super says, any clues on who the number 30 entrant in the Rumble will be? They don't know yet. Wiggly says, yo, 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 yo. Welcome, Wiggly. What a big Tom. What a big Wiggles. John says, Tom, the original plan for last year's Rumble was Sasha to win and face Charlotte. Then Rousey came back and won it. Is that what started the downfall with Sasha? To be fair, John, you were literally quoting my own report back to me there. I was the one to report that. I wouldn't call it a downfall with Sasha. I think she's still as strong as she ever has been. But the change certainly had an impact. Wiggly says, who's going to win the World Cup, Argentina or France? France. Wiggly says, are you doing a SmackDown watch-along? Yes, I am. Justin says, seriously, guys, like, subscribe, hit bell. It's 100%. He means 100% free. He said 1005 free, but it's 100% free, which is nice. 100% free to subscribe. You'll get notifications every time we go live and every time we have a video as well. If you'd like to check out spoiler warning, now's the time. Wiggly, no, there is discussions ongoing about the potential to have Kairi in the Royal Rumble. It's something that WWE want, and it's something they're trying to negotiate as part of the deal that will see Carl Anderson spend time in New Japan again. Dimitar, welcome, says Melt's reports are always a mixture of what he feels and what he has been hearing. He doesn't really hide that, and I really think that's worth mentioning. He doesn't hide the fact that a lot of his reporting isn't reports, it's opinions. And that's okay. You know? That's okay. I know how that feels. Christoph says tomorrow will be 10 years since Big E made his main roster debut. Crazy how time goes fast. Spider-Boss says, I always told my friend Simon, trust in Triple H. Triple H knows how much star power Sasha adds to the women's division. He does. Ghost says, hi Tom and chat. Hope everyone's going well today. And you too, Ghost. Welcome to the show. Great to see you. Welcome. Spider-Boss says, Naomi's friend on Twitter today told all the things that Meltzer said is far from the truth. Certainly, when it comes to what Meltzer has been reporting, some of it certainly is consistent to what I've heard. Some of it certainly is consistent. Some of it is not. Some of it is not even slightly consistent. Thank you very much, Songu Ko. Very nearly Goku. Very nearly. For subscribing on the YouTube side. Welcome to the show. Venom. No comment. Simon says, William Regal's a very big Sasha advocate too, as well. With Regal Karate. Again, the WWE, that is a good sign for Sasha. Again, you're looking for things. You are very much looking for things at this point. Venom. No comment. Move on. Simon says, my dream WWE feud for 2023 is Sasha versus Liv. That could be a lot of fun. I think they'd work really well together in a match. Alonso says, make sure to continue to specify when you give opinions. People take it as gospel when they really shouldn't. I literally specify, this is my opinion. I could not be more clear, but it's also very clear a lot of people they either come here in bad faith or they don't actually look at what I'm reporting. They just decide what I've reported and make it up. Patrick, welcome, says, the more I've thought about it, I think Sasha Banks could be Paige's mystery partner. Even if she is, I'd be fine with it as a one and done agreement. It's certainly a way to announce herself as not with WWE anymore, and it certainly would get a lot of people talking. Marcel says, when do you expect Edge back? January, in time for the Royal Rumble. Razar says, I'd love to see Naomi in the bloodline with WWE having all these intergender factions. It would open so many doors for storylines. Certainly would give us a great opportunity for Bloodline versus Judgment Day, for example. Spider-Boss says, rough weeks for Mandy Rose, lost her brother and now she got fired. I feel bad for Mandy, which is fair. Hey Kamari, how you doing? Thomas Phipps said if you could choose only 3 New Japan to debut at the Rumble, who would they be? Jay White, Kota Ibushi, even though I know that's kind of not really a thing at this point in time, and Minoru Suzuki. Though, if Kota Ibushi can't make it, give me Toru Yano. I love me some Toru Yano. Joey says, which NXT stars do you expect to see in the Rumble? None. Peter says, yo, can't wait for SmackDown even though it's not my fave. It should be a good one tonight. Certainly last week was not their best. Sean says, is Shotzi's injury legitimate? Yes. Also, is Riddle's suspension kayfabe? Yes. Venom says, do you see Bronson Reed and Chelsea Green returning at the Rumble? Callie says, any news on Charlotte? Should be returning shortly. Two Super says, personally, how do you feel about Bray cutting promos every week? He isn't as active as I thought it would be. He's not setting the world alight for me. I'm a little disappointed. I don't know whether I'm sort of crushing under the weight of my own expectation, but we are where we are there. We are where we are. Spider-Boss says, I wonder why fans believe in Sean Ross Sapp and Meltzer when it comes to Sasha news and WWE news. Sean Ross Sapp and Meltzer know more about AEW. There are some people that a lot of people sort of universally have decided are always right. And when they're wrong, said people still think that they're always right. It's an interesting thing. Joey says, do you think we'll still see Toxic Attraction on the main roster even without Mandy? Yes. Flying says, hello, it's been a few weeks since I had enough time to watch live. Welcome, Flying. How you doing? How you doing? Two Super says, Juice Robinson at the Rumble. Make it happen. Spider-Boss says, Bodyslam.net said Riddle got suspended because he failed 2 drug tests, which certainly I think the WWE are likely to have been in contact with him about. Jaden is asking about Simon. Martin, welcome. Says, hey Tom, hope you're good. Do you know if there's any plans for Blair Davenport in WWE? To my knowledge right now, there are no plans. And Noob says, I would like to see Hiroshi Tanahashi or Okada in the Royal Rumble over Kota Ibushi. That'll be awesome. I would not go with anyone over Kota Ibushi apart from, as you guys know, my personal favourite, my Lord and Saviour, Jay White. Let's get to some news, shall we? So I've already gone into a lot of what has been going on with Sasha, and all I've really got to say is that nothing has changed regards the current situation for Sasha Banks and Naomi. I've been reporting on negotiations for a new contract for Sasha Banks for months now, and now Dave Meltzer's starting to catch up and go through the same process I went through a couple of months ago. The majority of the reports currently coming out from Fightful Select, from Wrestling Observer, are consistent with what I've already reported. The only area in which they disagree is that they keep sort of changing their story as regards contract status, whether she's actually signed to a contract, whether she's not signed to a contract. Dave Meltzer has constantly been saying, no, she's still under contract, and now she's saying, no, she's gone. Now he's saying, no, she's gone. It's very confusing. But the report from Fightful Select is very clear. They state a release was negotiated in the summer. They do not say she's been released. They do not say when she might be released. And the fact that she is still listed on the active roster by WWE, both internally and externally, says a lot for me as regards where we are headed. Now, as regards the negotiations, Triple H is being limited by co-CEOs Nick Khan and Stephanie McMahon as to what he can offer to Sasha Banks, but it is not just Sasha Banks that limitation is in place for. Triple H, to my knowledge, would move heaven and earth to supply for Sasha Banks what she requires to get that signature on the dotted line. But this is not the only situation where Nick Khan is stepping in. It's not just Triple H who is disappointed with some of his big returns. Karrion Kross, Hit Row certainly have not hit the heights, but there are also eyes being kept on, for example, Johnny Gargano, who there's just a level of disappointment with, because the expectation was his matches would be absolutely unmissable, and that simply has not been the case so far. Nick Khan in particular has failed to see the benefit of many of the newest signings, to a point where he's not entirely sure they fit the cost-benefit analysis system that he has been using. When Triple H first took over as Chief Content Officer, the idea was very, very simple. Nick Khan and Stephanie McMahon would back Triple H with whatever he needed in order to right the ship and make sure that everything was absolutely fine and running smoothly going forwards. Basically, as long as he could prove that he could make the company money, they would finance it. And big money deals were greenlit for Karrion Kross, for Johnny Gargano, for Braun Strowman, for Bray Wyatt, including with Bray Wyatt an element of creative control which was unheard of up to that point. Now, to be clear, Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman in particular are not earning anywhere near as much as they did before they were released, but it is still big money for the actual benefit that they bring. And at the moment, Nick Khan is not seeing the numbers coming in to justify that expense. He had to be convinced to allow or greenlight the return of Tegan Nox. A large part of that is ensuring that she was pushed and regularly featured, rather than, for example, Emma, who has faded immediately into the background. Nick Khan is now considering whether more cost-cutting is needed to protect value for money. Triple H still has a list of people that he wants to bring in, but at this point in time, Nick Khan may be saying, no, the checkbook is closed on that one. Can I have myself a little drink? And we are back with the chat. Please do remember, thumbs up if you haven't done so yet. Every like makes a massive difference. And the fact that our engagement level is so much higher than basically everyone else in the competition is testament to you guys and the support you give. And it's also the main reason that we've been growing so quickly. We're also just looking for just two new subscribers to get us to 1,900, and to once again raise the possibility that we might actually make 2,000 before the year is over. We would need 6 per day to do that. Any donations, any memberships, any gift memberships will be going directly to advertising to get us to that level. So if you're interested in giving a gift membership or a small donation, please consider doing so. You'd be very, very welcome. Jonathan says, I saw the IG live. I think in my opinion she might have given 2 hints that she's not going to the WWE. I can imagine it was just a wash of questions about it. What are those hints for you there, Jonathan? Joey says, is William Regal going to be heavily scouting the indies again for WWE? Yes, he is. Sean suggests Kenta in the Rumble. Kenta is not very interested in that. Kenta does not want to come back to the WWE in any form. He did not have a good time, and he's not expected to have a good time if he goes again. Simon says, how long is Shotzi out injured for, Tom? Thank you. There is a concern at the moment that Shotzi might not make the Royal Rumble. It's possible, but not guaranteed. Thank you very much, Mac McCall. Mac McCall. That is an interesting one to say. Mac McCall, for subscribing on the YouTube side. I appreciate that. Thank you kindly. You'll get a notification whenever we go live, and you can now chat because we are in subscriber-only chat. So by all means, ask questions if you have them, or lurk if you'd prefer. Will says, I think it's funny how you told us that WWE working with New Japan, and look now with Carl Anderson wrestling at Wrestle Kingdom in January, you broke that news first. Yep. It'll never be mentioned by anyone else. You know this. You know this. I'm not someone who's ever going to be having his name pop up on Reddit, and you guys know this. But the most important thing is that you know this. You're the ones I care about. You're the ones who are here week in, week out. You're the ones who are here chatting, liking, just having a great time. You're the ones who should know, and you're the ones who do know. Yes, Simon, I know it's gone cold as regards Adam Cole news. There is no news. That's the main thing. At this point, to my knowledge, he's not fit and firing ready to return, so he's not doing so. Spider-Boss says, after Roxanne win the NXT Women's title, I remembered your words, Tom. You always told us Roxanne was going to be the one who beats Mandy. I do believe it was about 6 months on that one. Every time it was a question, I was like, no, I reckon it's going to be Roxanne. I reckon it'll be Roxanne. That was my opinion, to be clear, but that's me reading the room. Jermaine says, hey Tom, when they bring Toxic Attraction up to the main roster, do you think they put them with Sonya Deville or put them in Damage Control? I think there is more likelihood that they'll be put with Sonya Deville or someone else from NXT. They have, after all, had Sonya Deville with Toxic Attraction before, and she does sort of fit the bill for what they're going for. That said, I can't imagine she would be too happy with that situation personally. Hector says, I wouldn't wish anyone to lose their job, but with Mandy being released and Roxanne now the champ, I'd love to see Gigi go after that title. It makes sense storyline-wise that they get revenge for Mandy. It depends whether or not they actually want to mention Mandy. They do have a habit, after something like this happens, of just pretending it never did happen. And just pretending that no one was ever there. Like, what do you mean release? Who's released? We haven't released anyone. I don't know what you're talking about. You little scamps and your little ideas. How dare you remember things? I'd like the match. I think it'd be a great feud, and I think both Gigi and JC are in a great position right now to start going after that NXT Championship. Just, hard to see. Simon says, everybody should watch Hangman. Incredible, absolutely amazing promo this week on Dynamite. The best thing in pro wrestling this week. Interesting. Everything Network has sworn massively. Welcome to you too. Spider-Boss says, I'm surprised with the booking that Johnny Gargano has got since his return to WWE. The idea was very simple. He'd be just doing exhibition matches where his wrestling quality would stand out and get him over. Unfortunately, in modern day wrestling, being a great wrestler isn't enough because so many of them are. Triple H in this manner was trying to book like NXT. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. In the same way that Damage Control have not really hit the heights recently, he's been booking like he used to book NXT. And he is learning as he goes, and I'm sure he will pick this one up. But you cannot do that on the main roster. Venom says, do you see Adam Cole going back to WWE anytime soon? I do not see that in any way, shape or form. Personally, what I would expect is that he will see out his contract and then look at his options. Venom says it'd be their fault. They need to book them better. They're only doing what they are told. They are. Absolutely. Absolutely they are. Joey says, I don't think it's fair to put the blame on Gargano. He's been put in a boring storyline with The Miz that no one seems to care for. As I say, I still think the booking is the problem. I think there is a lack of awareness about what works on the main roster compared to NXT, but I do think they'll get there. Callie says, I wish they'd bring Adam Cole back. They can't right now, but that is the plan. Spider-Boss says, I know it's different, but I think Triple H sees Sasha as Pep Guardiola sees Messi. That's an example. That's definitely an example. Peter says, I had a call from Nick. My call-up is postponed. Oh, well, back to the day job. Give it time, mate. Give it time. They'll pull that trigger on you eventually. Razar says, is WWE worried about the record low ratings lately? Nope, not all. Spider-Boss says, I saw Bayley's IG Live with Sasha. Both teased a bit with the what does a blue wig there. Yep, true. Two Super says, any news on who will dethrone Orange Cassidy? No, I have no news on that one at this point in time. There's quite a few people, particularly in AEW, I just don't have a lead on. So There's a few people I'll never really know anything about with how things are at the moment. Ghost says, this was one of my main concerns with the major influx of returns. Each person brought back has an immense level of talent, but not everyone could be featured in the forefront. Arguably, the only impactful returns that happened were Damage Control and Bray Wyatt, and with Bray, the slow burn is moving extremely slowly. Fair. I do think there's a couple of people who've had a decent impact, albeit briefly. Tegan is doing well so far. I think Braun Strowman is definitely up there, but he's sort of orchestrated his own downfall. Joey says there doesn't seem to be much focus on Raw at the minute. Is it because of Monday Night Football? A bit yes, a bit no. They're not exactly bringing their A game right now because they're basically planning what they're going to do for the whole next year. Triple H has made some changes to the WrestleMania card. They're working out what they're going to be doing with it. I see that one being the focus going forwards. Simon, I need to reiterate what I've just said because I don't think you've understood it. Nick Khan is providing some limitations to what Triple H can offer new incoming contracts. That does include Sasha Banks. I have not said Nick Khan won't let Triple H bring her back. He's limiting what the negotiating field is. That does not mean Nick Khan's walking in and saying, no, I don't want her. No, it's a very different thing. Christoph says, do you not think Hunter may have brought back too many people in the same amount of time to really push everybody the right way? Just guessing here. No, I agree. I absolutely agree. He did bring in a lot of people and he hasn't been able to use them all effectively. He just hasn't. Venom says, if Nick Khan is preventing the Sasha return, as I just said, there's a bit more nuance to it than just Nick Khan walking in and saying, no, I don't want it. No, it's never happening. Sean says, Mandy got removed from the NXT banner on Facebook and the banner on the WWE website and replaced by Roxanne. This is how you know someone's been released. Steve says, the one and only Mr. Tom Colohue, what a week to be unwell. It's been such crazy in the world of wrestling. Time for me to catch up on everything. Spoiler warning, welcome Steve. You are always welcome here and thank you kindly for the wise words and helpful words of just saying my name of Mr. on the front. It's very nice. Very nice. So, since SmackDown is looking pretty stacked tonight, I may have to stay up with you guys for it. We'd love to have you, Si, but we also know that maybe halfway through you'll have to have a nap. I do sometimes as well. Wrestling and Magic Madsen, welcome. Says, happy Friday, Tom. Hope you're having a good day and happy early Christmas. Happy very early Christmas to you too. Happy early Christmas. Spiderboss says, I remember WWE fired Zelina Vega for her OnlyFans stuff, and months after WWE rehired Zelina. Could this happen with Mandy? You all know how this works. Peter says, that's 1 minute of scrolling I will never get back. Joey says, I think Triple H needs to understand the main roster crowd is very different than the NXT Black and Gold crowd. They were hardcore wrestling fans. The main roster fans are casuals. By and large, yes. Not entirely, but by and large, you are correct. Will says, with William Regal coming in, do you think that might help Triple H with the storylines? Nope, William Regal will not be writing storylines for the main roster. Chris Leclerc, welcome, says, who wins between Damage Control and Tegan Nox and Liv Morgan for the Women's Tag Team Championships tonight on SmackDown? I believe it goes to a no contest because of interference from Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Hogan says, to be fair, I felt like WWE really needed to show up their undercard after all those firings. As they say, if 10 guys win, 10 guys need to lose. Which is actually a fair comment, and I appreciate you bringing that up, because we do have to consider, in order to push people, other people have to lose matches. And Sonya Deville's certainly been losing a lot to Liv, but you could swap that to Lacey, for example. You could swap that to Emma now. There's lots of people. One sec. Thank you kindly, Phil, for subscribing on the YouTube side. You can now chat away, because we're in subscriber-only chat. Ask whatever questions you'd like, or lurk if you prefer. Please remember to thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Wrestling and Magic says, is there any hold in that Miss Banks will work for Stardom? I don't know what you mean by hold. Could you clarify for me? Spiderboss says, Mandy appeared in the NXT Vengeance banner and now WWE removed Mandy. Yep, because she's been released. And when someone's released, they get rid of you entirely. Hector says, I know it's not talked about a lot, but it's crazy to me that Miro went through booking hell while in WWE and thought the grass would be greener on the other side, and is back in the same situation. Such a great talent, I don't understand how Tony Khan can't find at least something for him to do. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree on that one. Spiderboss says, is Miro still in AEW? Yes, he is. Razar says, when is the Alexa vs Bianca match happening and will Bianca defend the title at the Rumble? Soon, I would imagine before the year is out, and yes. Ghost says, I wouldn't count Tegan or even Mia since they just got back to their storylines a month or two from now is yet to be seen. Fair. Braun isn't so much in the background, but he's just kind of floating at this point. That is true. You can see that there's a collision course with Gunter, but we're not there because of his own mistakes. The rest are either in storylines that aren't the most interesting in the world or just there. I agree with that. The Way at the moment, they are struggling for me. It's like all of them are struggling for me outside of Austin Theory, who's not really in the Way concept. Jermaine says, Tom, what is the plan for Alexa Bliss? Is she getting a character change or what? And what is the plan for Asuka? They are definitely teasing one of them doing a turn on the other. Now, Alexa Bliss is obviously teasing the, I'm back to being the Bray Wyatt thing. And I don't necessarily want that. I see it going the other way, personally. Maybe Asuka turns on Alexa and Asuka goes to Bray Wyatt, which would, I feel, be fun and really work with the character that they're playing. But we'll have to wait and see what actually happens there. As regards Alexa Bliss, she wants a character change. Triple H is not really happy to do it, but he may be convinced. Wrestling and Magic says, I can see Regal back in NXT in a role. Certainly he could be. I do believe he'll be more involved in the Continental? Yeah, the Continental approach that they're favouring at the moment. Venom says, be surprised if you could stay away for a Raw watch-along, Tom, nearly as long as a pay-per-view. It does last forever. It really does. Simon says, Johnny is absolutely doing the best with what he has got, showing really great personality and charisma, in my opinion. Steve says, random question from me. Will your schedule here on YouTube, Twitch remain the same over Christmas and New Year? That is the plan, yes. It will not be perfect scheduled. I'm looking at the calendar now. So, for example, I will still be looking to do a show on Boxing Day, but it might not be standard spoiler warning. That said, on the 23rd, business as usual. Very much business as usual. The only planned change would be as regards the 26th, when I find it likely we'll do sort of a different format. And then on the 30th, we will be business as usual as well. Into the new year, 2nd, 6th, all makes perfect sense. And we will be continuing as per. Go away, calendar. Thank you for asking, Steve. Wrestling and Magic says, Tom, I read rumours that she was going to wrestle some matches for Stardom. Technically, if she's a women's wrestler for New Japan, she'll have to. Spider-Boss says, I was surprised when Alexa won on Raw. I wonder if Alexa would turn heel after she loses against Bianca. Sean says, I can see Bianca versus Alexa at the Rumble. It would keep Alexa out of the Rumble match. I don't see that personally because it's just a long way to go. And I do feel Rhea Ripley is more likely at the Royal Rumble for me. Spider-Boss says, I'd love to see Regal as an authority figure in NXT. You may be waiting a long time on that one. Mandy Rose has announced what she is intending to do now she has been released from the WWE, and essentially her plan is to double down on her fan time content, stop hiding it, stop having it sort of in the background, stop worrying too much about leaks, up the price, and just get it out there. She is certainly interested in returning to wrestling. I've spoken to people in her camp, and she is open to considering offers. However, any offers would have to be permissive of the content that she wants to create. She is someone who wants to be an adult content creator, and she does not want to work for any company that is not willing to work with her on that. So the future of Mandy Rose is still very much in adult content, and that is where she'll be going for the foreseeable future. There has been a report as regards WWE's status for sale and Vince McMahon's impact on that. Vince McMahon is still the majority shareholder in the WWE, and as such, he would personally have to agree with a sale of the company in order for a sale to go through. That is something that Vince McMahon does have power over as a shareholder. He does not have any power over hiring and firing, so he cannot hire himself back. He does not have any power over anything creative, so he cannot get involved in any of the actual day-to-day ingoings. He can sit there in the shareholders' meetings, he can exert his influence. He cannot have any impact whatsoever in the day-to-day running of the WWE. I need to make that as clear as it is possible to make it. I also want to briefly mention, I've already mentioned it, but like you guys constantly ask the questions that I've got lined up, and I really do appreciate that because it means I'm writing the right things out. Dave Meltzer has confirmed my report that there is a discussion ongoing about Kairi Sane featuring in next year's Royal Rumble. Kairi Sane, of course Kairi Hojo elsewhere, is likely to appear if they are able to convince her to do so. This would be part of the deal that saw Carl Anderson go over and work in New Japan, and potentially, based on whether negotiations are going well, part of a deal that would allow Sasha Banks, while under WWE contract, to work in New Japan. This would of course require Sasha Banks to sign a new contract which permits that, we'll wait and see what actually happens in that regard. Finally then, as regards Matt Riddle, there is a huge amount of differing information out about Matt Riddle at this point in time. What I can confirm is he has been written off for a kayfabe reason while he deals with some personal issues. There are rumours that he has been sent off to rehab by the WWE. There are rumours he has failed multiple drugs tests. There are rumours he may be required back in a legal battle as regards his prior relationship and all the issues there. At this point in time, I have not been able to confirm anything definitive as to the status of Matt Riddle, but what I have been told is that everyone in the WWE fully supports him and looks forward to getting him back on his feet and wrestling in the WWE. Spider-Boss says, when could we see Bianca lose the title? She's been booked very strongly lately, making her undefeatable. This, I feel, is the most dangerous period for Bianca. I don't believe she will leave WrestleMania with the championship, but I don't know whether or not she will enter WrestleMania with the championship. Hector says, I'm not afraid to admit I'm a huge Bray fan. With that being said, the band who did his new theme, Code Orange, released merch for the theme, with the back of the long sleeve featuring the handwritten lyrics to the theme, There Goes My Money, Tom. There goes your money, and I'm sure you'll be aware, here comes the money. Same thing. Here comes the money. Here comes the money. Money, 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 money. Dollar. Sean says, Tommy Dreamer said on Busted Open Radio, Impact should sign Mandy if AEW doesn't. He said Mandy is a star and a great wrestler. She would fit in Impact and they should capitalise on signing her. I agree. Spider-Boss says, ever since Randy Orton got injured, Riddle lost his GPS and all changed for Riddle. His GPS? Does that mean he can't drive to the arenas anymore? Michael says, how are they really gauging any of the returns as a failure? Just crowd reactions. Crowd reactions, yes. Also merch sales, a little bit of the actual storyline and so on and so forth. There's a lot going into it, but Nick Khan has his own format for value for money, and that's how they're gauging it. Jermaine says, hey Tom, I can see Mandy Rose going to be AEW Paige's partner. I don't find that likely, primarily because of the I believe it's a 30-day non-compete that she has. I don't believe it's a 90-day for Mandy because she signed a new NXT contract, but I do believe there is still a non-compete to consider. Venom says, when will Ciampa and Orton return? They have very different injuries and very different schedules. Joey says, hope they aren't going to pair Alexa and Bray together again. Wasn't a fan of it last time they did it. I liked it for a bit, and then I didn't anymore. Christoph says, Mandy is still listed as a WWE superstar on social media. Her social media? Yes, she is. Simon says, who do you see dethroning MJF for the AEW World title eventually down the road in 2023? Eventually is a very long time. Steve Engblom says, just got in. Holiday Traveler's a nightmare. Are you excited to see Gunter chop Little Ricky's nips off? Yes. Gunter matches are always great fun. Always great fun. And I can't wait to see more of it. Ricochet, for his part, does really well in that arena. He's very good at looking like he's just been destroyed. You know? Some people are just really good sellers. Joey says, do you think Triple H will be going after Kenny Omega when his contract is up in 2023? I think he'll try. I don't think he'll make a difference, but I think he'll try. Venom says, I heard that Tony Khan agreed to let Regal out of his contract as long as he's not on TV. Venom, what's your source for that one? Simon says, how long are the Street Profits staying in a tag team? There doesn't seem to be much interest right now in splitting them up, certainly not as there was previously, so probably for a while. Steve says, reportedly, Tommy Dreamer said on Busted Open that Impact would have interest in Mandy Rose if AEW don't pursue a deal. Joey says, will Matt Riddle get released if he has another drug violation? It is 3 strikes and you're out. So far 2. Ed says, best in the world, Shane McMahon. Go says, here comes the money. And Steve says, uh-oh, has Tom Colohue just summoned Shane McMahon? Money, 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 money. See, that's how you know people have been here for a long time, because we have not done that in a very, very, very long time. Sean says, is Candice on that list? Yes, she is. Spider-Boss says, I wouldn't be surprised if Mandy goes to AEW. AEW allow their women to have OnlyFans stuff. Yep. There are multiple people on the AEW payroll who currently have and run OnlyFans accounts. Nelson says, will Sasha be Sasha Banks from New Japan Stardom or Mercedes? She will not be Sasha Banks. I can't say who she will be. Devon, welcome. Says, I've seen on Twitter that Rightful Days that Chelsea Green is going to return to WWE SmackDown as a new leader of Toxic Attraction. What's your source on that one, Devon? Because I certainly haven't heard anything like that. Kevin says, no more returns from outside of WWE. Triple H needs to focus on NXT talent. NXT talent are being largely forgotten because the focus is very much on bringing more people in over the top of them. It's very similar to when the Radicals arrived in the Attitude Era, and people like D'Lo Brown, Test, who were receiving a lot of focus, suddenly didn't anymore. They just didn't anymore. Joey says, I don't like all the supernatural stuff with Bray. I just want to see him wrestle. Unfortunately, the WWE are aware that quite a lot of people... For a lot of people, that's sort of when the Bray thing all falls apart. Even now, after the whole Fiend thing, he's still only got like a 30% win ratio. It's not good, unfortunately. Simon says, do you think Nick Khan will make many, if at all, roster cuts next year in 2023? I think we'll see some small roster cuts and some contracts not being renewed, but nothing major like we've seen in the past. Venom says, do you see CM Punk returning to the WWE? Nope. Simon says, any news on the Stone Cold Rock match at Mania 39 or at the Rumble? Nope. I've never reported it's going to happen. Joey says, could WWE negotiate a deal with Mandy to let her keep the OnlyFans under certain conditions? Yes. They wouldn't, but they could. They wouldn't, though. Steve says, any truth to the Lesnar versus Gunter at WrestleMania rumours? You know what I'm going to do? You put in a hashtag, everything is on the table. However, what I will say, this was originally reported by Zero News, followed up by Wrestling News Co. Dave Meltzer seems to think it's not going to happen. It seems like something that's been discussed, but hasn't gone beyond that. I still think McIntyre versus Gunter is a more likely scenario. And Tommy B says, do you think Omega will talk to Triple H after his contract is up? Yes, and that way he'll get more money from AEW. Sean says, I can see GG and JC getting split up and possibly repackaged, probably get rid of Toxic Attraction. I don't want that. I don't want that in any way, shape or form. I loved that faction. It really did stand out in a place where it's quite difficult to stand out at the minute NXT. I'd like to see them continue it in some capacity. Spider-Boss says, when PWInsider reported that Sasha will wrestle in Japan, appeared that she will wrestle as Mercedes Varnado. Seems to be the most likely scenario, yes. Michael says, I don't think Mandy would fit in AEW. The AEW women's division, unfortunately, is in a very difficult place. Spider-Boss says, it surprised me all this Mandy's release for her OnlyFans stuff. WWE hypersexualized Mandy when they launched 2.0 last year, when Mandy was the flagship of 2.0. Yep. I know, right? Certain level of hypocrisy there that you have to consider. Joey says, I think Gigi could get over on her own, but JC would end up lost in the shuffle. Then keep them as a tag team. Keep them as a tag team and just let Gigi do more of the talking. I think that's easy enough. We will be hosting a SmackDown watch party later on today. I'll be setting up the go live immediately after this show. In the meantime, though, thank you everyone for another incredible spoiler warning. Thank you everyone for your support. We did go over the hour once again. We do continue to do so. And we did reach 1,901 subscribers. Watch them drop down to like 1,800 again after this show. But thank you everyone who subscribed. All 52 of you hit like. Everyone who's chatted. 440 views so far and climbing. Been a great show. And I'm very, very grateful to all of you for giving me the time to do so. Thank you everyone. We will hopefully see as many of you as possible for tonight's watch party. We'll see you there. I've been Tom Colohue. You have been fantastic. We'll see you all very soon.